But then they talk about how Grant and Starla got together when she was like 18.
Yeah.
And he was a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
And he paid for her college for her to become a teacher. And you can kind of see like the age difference. But I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm not saying he's perfect.
I'm saying he might be mildly pedophilic. Like he might be a mild pedophile. I'm just
It's possible.
Like he waits for them to turn 18. Yay him. But still gross.
I'm not saying I'd hang out with him. I'm just saying he wasn't as bad as I remember him being.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. Damn! And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
But yeah. All right. So, what year? This is 2006, the week of March 31st. Oh, God, 2006. The number one song that week was So Sick by Neo. I don't know that song.
Oh, he's so sick of love songs. Racking his brain.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Other songs you would hear on the radio that week would be SOS by Rihanna, Control Myself by LL Cool J, Stupid Girls by Pink. TV was airing new episodes of George Lopez, King of Queens, How I Met Your Mother, along with episodes of CSI and the ever-confusing show Lost. Actually, I liked Lost. I did. There were a few episodes, like a couple of seasons where it was kind of like, what?
I think I watched the first 2 seasons of Lost, and then I missed. This is exactly what I said to someone. I was like, I watched all of the first season, most of the second. I missed one episode, and then I tried watching the next week because this is before streaming and catching up on demand and all of that.
Yeah.
So I tried catching up the following week, and I had no idea what was going on. Like, it had changed completely, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, you had to follow that show.
You had to watch every single week. Yeah.
In the world, Scotland became the first part of the United Kingdom to introduce a full smoking ban in enclosed public spaces and workplaces. The European Union agreed to introduce a standardized European driver license. This one confused me. The Beatles record label Apple Corp accused Apple Computer in court of breaching a trademark agreement by operating their iTunes music store. At first I was like, I thought Apple sued themselves. So I didn't know Apple Corp was actually owned by the Beatles, and that was just the name of their corporation. And but then when I read iTunes, I thought smartphones were out, but I looked it up, and no, still no iPhones in March 2006. No Galaxy phones. We were a year away from iPhone and a little more than 2 years away from a Galaxy. So there were flip phones, and there were Blackberries.
Yes, Blackberries were a thing at that point.
So long ago. Actually, it wasn't that long ago when you think about it. No, it's getting along.
What you talking about, Willis?
2006.
2006, yo. That's like
16 years ago.
Yeah. That's a whole ass person.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Who can get a part-time job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think in 2006 I had a Motorola Razr. I just thought I'd throw that out.
I had a Motorola Flip. I still have my first cell phone, and it's huge, and it has the flip, and you have to grab the antenna and pull it up.
Yeah. I did not have one of those.
I had a
Nokia.
A Nokia, yeah. Yeah, so old. And on March 31st, 2006, Slither slithered its way into theaters. The film received generally positive reviews from critics who deemed it as funny and creepy, while praising the premise of B-movie conventions, Gunn's direction, script, and performance of the cast, and has since become a cult classic. However, it was a box office bomb. It grossed only $12 million against a $15 million budget, which I'm sure they recouped in rentals and stuff like that. But it was not a big moneymaker. What do you remember about liking Slither?
I remember it being funny and gross. It did feel very B-movie. Like it really, and it drove it home. But I remember loving it. Like it was one of those movies that you watch and you're like, you enjoy the entire thing. There's no point where you're just like, I don't know what they're doing. But I was just like, from start to finish, I really, really liked it. And I found it funny. And it felt like it was just a good movie, you know? Like, I'll watch it. It went into my rewatch rotation for a while.
I remember Slugs, which reminded me a lot of the movie Night of the Creeps. I remember Nathan Fillion and Elizabeth Banks. I remember the Zombies. I remember being excited about James Gunn because he wrote Scooby-Doo. No. But he did write Scooby-Doo. But he did a lot of work with Troma, and he wrote one of my favorite zombie films, of the Dawn of the Dead remake. So him actually going from writer to director, I was actually excited about that. I did go to the theater and see this. And yeah, I owned this at one point. I owned the DVD. I don't have it anymore. I had over 2,000 DVDs at one point, and I got rid of them. And a lot of it was when digital came. I just where to put them when we were moving, and we went to a small condo, and they're just gone. But yeah, definitely owned Slither, and I definitely saw it more than once. I remember liking it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I think I rented it the first time when I was like on my kind of B-movie, like let's randomly watch stuff I haven't seen that looks kind of weird. So I remember that, and I didn't watch it again for years. But then when I was working at Chorus, we had access to the servers. And so I would log on to watch movies while I worked. And Slither was one of the movies that I watched on the regular. Because I was like, oh, geez, Slither, I haven't seen this in forever. And then I started watching it. And then I haven't seen it again in like probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, it's been a while for me.
Yeah. But I remember like every time watching it where there were just certain lines that you can't help but smile. Because you're just like, God, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And I loved Nathan Fillion. Like,
yes,
ever since Serenity.
I have loved him ever since One Life to Live. He was one of the Buchanan boys. Soap opera days, my friend. Soap opera.
I did not know he was.
He was on One Life to Live. He was one of the Buchanan boys. I had such a crush on him. And then he was also on Two Girls, a Guy, in a Pizza Place.
Yes, yeah, I did remember that. Yep.
Yeah. What else did he? Oh, there was something else that he did, and then he did not Serenity. Firefly was the series name.
Yes, Firefly.
Watched him on that.
Yes, Serenity was the movie, and yeah,
Serenity was the movie. Firefly was the show, and then he was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah. So I mean, like, it's sad that I've known about him for so long. Because this was literally in the 90s. Yeah, it was like 96, 97 that he was on the soap. God, I'm old. So many crickets.
What soap was he on?
He was on One Life to Live.
One Life to Live.
Yeah, he played, because there was a whole family of the Buchanan boys. I believe Asa was the patriarch. Don't make fun of me. But he was like, basically, they were just a bunch of hotties. That's all it was. So everybody was like, ooh, the Buchanan boys. They're all just a bunch of hotties. who get into trouble, and then, stuff happens. But he was very, very, now I want to know what year it was. I really want to know what year he was on One Life
I'm sure
to
they
Live.
were really bad if they were on a soap opera. Could only imagine the shenanigans they got into.
Well, I think there might have been like a drug storyline. I don't know if he was the one on the drugs or if someone else was on the drugs, but there were drugs. There was also sex, possibly a baby.
Mm. Was this the one where the girl gets possessed by the demon?
No, that's Days of Our Lives.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That was also when I gave up on Days of Our Lives. I was a dedicated viewer until Marlena, who was a psychiatrist, got possessed by the devil. Then I was like, you have gone too far, sir. You have gone too far. I can deal with anything else. People coming back from the dead was fine. But devil possession was a step too far for me.
Yeah, I remember my friend talking about it, and that's going back a while now. I think we were in school.
Oh, yeah.
No, like
that was...
I don't know if it was high school or public school, and he was talking about it, and like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think it was high school.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I think you're right. But it was like, what? One, why are you watching a soap opera? And two, what the fuck are you talking about? Possessed by the devil.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, it was terrible. It was really, really terrible. Oh, God. He was on the soap opera in like 1995.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 1994. Sorry. My bad. That's when he first showed up. He was Joey Buchanan. Just thought
long time ago.
That's how long I've been following his career. God, I'm old. It's fine.
All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. And that is I believe the DVD cover. People that are listening, thousands of those. The girl in the tub, the big, what kind of tub is that called?
It's a clawfoot tub.
Yeah, clawfoot tub. Suds and thousands of those slugs going towards her. And I believe this is I think that was the movie poster. Same thing. You can see the girl's leg.
Yeah.
And the slugs look a little more gross. I don't know how this movie bombed. I really don't.
I think it was just you can't hide it's quirky.
No.
And I don't.
Yeah.
And I think that was like this 2006 was when it came. That was not the time for quirky.
No, I think it was ahead of its time.
It was.
Yeah.
Quirky now, 100% no problem. Everybody's very accepting of the quirky. 2006, this was the weird kid in your high school. Like that's what this movie was.
Yeah, nerds, geeks, whatever. I don't think it was as accepting in 2006 as it is today. The tagline was "What's gotten into you," which made me try to remember. Like, I don't think these slugs try to get inside you. And I remember some of the funny and cringeworthy things that it's not just the mouth they'll get in. So when I saw that tagline, I'm like, it made me remember that part of the slugs. The outline for this, I grabbed this on the back of a DVD, is prepare yourself for this terrifying, twisted, and chilling film that critics are calling the most entertaining horror movie in years. From the writer of 2004's Dawn of the Dead comes the deliciously demented story of an unnamed evil wreaking havoc on a small town. Intent on devouring all life on Earth, this dark force is infecting anyone in its path. Now it's up to the local sheriff, Bill Party, Nathan Fillion, and his team to stop the spread of rampant devastation and shocking mutilation before it's too late. Yeah, you had me at devouring life, and you had me at the writer of the Dawn of the Dead, like I said before.
Yeah.
The critic consensus was a slimy B-movie homage oozing with affection for low-budget horror films. Slither is a creepy and funny if you've got the stomach for it. 140 critics at the time, and it got 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience is a little lower, 63%. over 100,000 scores with the audience. But that makes sense with horror movies. A lot of people that don't like horror movies watch horror movies, and I can see a lot of people not this. I remember this being gory. Yeah. And if you're not into gore, you're not gonna.
I remember a lot of scenes just being very, very graphic, and you're just like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
That's
ew. Yeah. IMDb has it at 6.5 from over 83,000 ratings.
Mm-hmm.
So let me bring this up. Didn't bring anything up. I shut it off.
It did not.
Again, it's not doing it.
That's it. You're fired.
Guess I'll do it this way. And then we'll go. And you can see that?
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
When you marry someone, you promise to love them forever.
Baby.
No matter how much they might change.
Brian? Baby, what happened to your face?
It's just a bee sting. From Universal Pictures
Tree is sick or something?
comes a film so shocking. We got a real problem here. So disgusting.
Don't let him in your mouth!
It will change the face of horror.
Marriage is a sacred bond, for better or worse.
Much worse. Chick is hardcore.
Something's wrong with me.
Slither.
Okay. That looks awesome.
I know. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited about watching that movie. Michael Rooker, I forgot. He's awesome in everything.
Yes.
Always plays either the best douchebag, the best bad guy, and if you see him on interviews, he looks like the nicest guy.
Yes, I've heard from so many people that he's just like the sweetest man in the world, and I'm like, but he plays the best dicks.
Yeah,
like, just trash human, but God, he's so sweet.
Who was that guy at the end there when he said, "Have you seen that before?" And I've watched Animal Planet. And then what's her name from The Office?
Mm-hmm. Jenna. I want to say her name is Jenna Fishman.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
or close.
It's close to that. I was not a big fan of The Office. Shh, don't tell anyone. Wow. I also haven't really sat down and watched it from start to finish.
You should.
So,
I wasn't a big fan of it when it was out. I watched a couple episodes. I was like, eh, and then I would see it and I would nah.
Yeah, I've caught an episode here and there, and I'm I'm not mad at it, but I'm also not I really need to watch this. I will eventually.
I sat down and watched the entire from start to finish, and now I've watched it twice. It's
impressive.
It's you get into it.
Yeah. I'll get around to it. But that guy, what was his name? Because I've seen him in so many things.
Oh, I brought it up. I had this on standby just in case something like this popped up. Elizabeth Bank, Dawn Thompson, Michael Rooker,
Greg Henry.
Greg Henry, who was also in a bunch of stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, he's in so much stuff, and he very often, I've seen him play a dad a few times.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Payback, Slither, Law and Order.
He was on Chicago Med.
Rookie, he's been Blade Runner, so he's been around. He's one of those ones that's been in a ton of stuff. Yeah. Just has that face that you remember. And
Gilmore
what is her
Girls,
name?
That's where I know him from the most.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, no, he played Rory's boyfriend's dad. He was a douchebag. But that's because I was like, I know I've seen him in something really recently. And in Chicago Med, he played a doctor. These are my two most recent ones. But yeah, but he's been in everything. If you've watched a movie or a TV series in the last like 20 years, you've seen him.
Yeah, and at least like 10 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your prediction?
I think I'm going to love it. I think I'm going to love it just for the simple fact that it's super B movie and it doesn't apologize for being a B movie. And it's like, this is what I am and I'm proud. And I think I'm going to love that.
I think I'm going to like it too. And what I liked about it is that when we're talking about 2006 being how many years, like 16 years ago? It still looks good. Those things crawling around on the ground, that still looks gross.
Mm-hmm. Still looks super gross.
Yeah.
Super, super gross. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Now I'm really looking forward to watching this movie. And if I don't like it, I'm going to be really fucking disappointed.
I highly doubt I won't like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm also like, when you remember loving it so much and you're like, God, this is so good.
Yeah.
I'll watch it whenever. And then you're like, it's been a while. And then you go to watch it again. I don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it could be
as good as I remember.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's probably still going to be good. But you're going to be like, I remember it being shinier.
But after watching that preview, I kind of remembered a bit more. And now I hope I'm not building it up too much in my head. It's
That's
like when
my only concern.
You tell your friends like, oh, you got to watch this movie. It's awesome. And then you watch it and they're like, you're an idiot. That's not good at all. Yeah. So we will go watch it and we will see.
Yes. I'm excited.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat. And then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
Okay, now we're recording. And we are back after watching Slither. Initial thoughts, no score, just a brief overall enjoyment or dislike of the movie.
I love this movie. I love it so much. I forgot how much I loved it. Like, I knew I loved it, but I didn't realize I loved it this much. I love this movie.
I'm kind of disappointed that okay, so the movie, I could really see why the audience score was a lot lower than the critic score. This is not a movie for everyone. But if you are into gore, if you are into the humor with your horror, then this was great. And yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know how I forgot about it because I have not seen this movie in a long, long time, and I remember liking it a lot. And then I watched it again and I still like it a lot. So first, yes, it is gross. This is a gross out movie, but it's not Saw movie gross.
No.
No, the gore in this movie is so fucking extreme. It's almost cartoonish.
Yes, correct.
But still gross at the same time.
No, super gross.
And a lot of the humor, it's not just the dialogue, because the dialogue is amazing, but within the gore itself, the gore scenarios themselves, it lies a lot of humor. The beginning really reminded me of a Troma movie. I don't know if you ever watched Troma movies like Toxic Avenger and all that stuff. No. Very low budget.
Yeah.
And this is where James Gunn got his start. He wrote Romeo and Juliet, and a bunch of other stuff for Troma. That's where he worked with Kaufman and did these really bad D, like they're not even B movies, they're not even C movies, these are D horror films. And the movie really it looked like a Troma movie to me. But it was as if someone gave millions and millions of dollars to make a Troma movie and got James Gunn to direct it. Like, you can see Troma, for people that are listening, if they know Troma, you see it right off the hop. First off, the town is not a picturesque middle America town. It's kind of a shithole.
Totally a shithole.
Which I thought was awesome.
I love that they're like, no, this place sucks.
Yeah. There's drunks and addicts walking downtown, and normal people like ignoring them or going out of their way not to deal with them. And usually within these horror movies, it starts, and I love this about a lot of these horror movies, where it starts in this picturesque middle America, beautiful little tiny town with lots of trees, and you see it all the time. And I do love it, but I also love how they did this town. And yeah, it was a total shithole.
It's a rural, lower income, small town, just not cute. It's not a cute town at all. And it's just like, this is shitty small towns. It's a shitty small town. See it in all its glory.
And it looks like the biggest thing of this town is what's coming up is the deer hunting season, which they start by getting shit-faced the night before.
As you do before you handle guns.
Yeah.
You should always be not at your best.
Yeah. So good.
Can we just start with in the opening?
Yeah.
The mayor is losing his mind behind.
I have that down here. Yeah.
Yeah. Get out of the way, cocksuckers. And then he looks over and a mom and a daughter. Morning, mayor.
It was because I think I put it down. Get the fuck out of the way, cocksucker. And then morning, mayor. Oh,
so good.
He is amazing in this movie.
Oh God, he's so good.
But we'll go through the plot, the storyline here, and then we'll get to the other stuff. So a meteorite, and for a B movie, that whole meteorite going through the earth was actually pretty cool looking. So it brings a malevolent, sentient extraterrestrial parasite to earth. Does the meteor hit right at the beginning, or we open up just with the town right at the beginning?
We open up with the town.
With right the town. Beginning. So we have the deer hunting season's coming.
Yeah.
We get to meet a lot of the townsfolk. We get to meet the sheriff's department or chief, and his deputies who are actually doing school crossing. I guess that's part
as you do in small towns.
And then you meet Elizabeth Banks' character, Starla, and she's a teacher. All the kids in the school are Google. Even those kids were gross.
Just so gross.
Ogling the teacher.
All the kids are like creeping on the teacher, and then there's the one female student who's like, ugh. And the guy's like, hey, how you doing? And you're like, you're really
he's drawing the teacher with the boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, let me get her boobs just right. And I'm like, you're gross.
And he didn't care.
The female student next to him is looking at him going like, you're gross. And he was like,
shrugs his shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's talking to the other teacher, who is James Gunn.
James Gunn. Yeah.
And then, of course, her husband Grant comes by. Michael Rooker, who's he's awesome, and
he's so awesome.
Most of the stuff he does, but in this movie he's awesome as well. And he kind of shuttles her away because he thinks that the male teachers just want her for her.
Yeah, he's gonna let me borrow, or I'm gonna lend him something. He wants to borrow one of my books or whatever. Grant says, I know what he wants to borrow, and I ain't lending. And I'm like, that's funny, but also insulting at the same time.
So we have a bit that goes on before that. Then we're back at Grant and Starla's home, where Grant is ready for bed, and he also wants to have sex. Starla doesn't. And then he's all pissy because they haven't done it in a while, and he said he's going for a walk, and he ends up at the bar where they're doing karaoke. Even that was funny, like the shitty karaoke, and the girl comes over that knew Grant from high school or something.
Oh no, he dated her sister, because this line stuck out to me, and she had a huge crush on him, and he was like, what? You must have been only 10 or 11? And she's like, but I was game. And then everybody laughs. And I was like, oh, it's that kind of town. Okay.
Yeah. And then they go for a walk. into the forest.
Yes, because she wanted to show the little heart with their initials that she had scratched into a tree.
Right.
When she was 10 or 11 years old and super game.
Now, and then she invites sex. And to his credit, Grant decides not to because he's married and his wife is at home and she's probably wondering where he is and decides not to. Then the meteor hits.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go looking for what that was, what that sound was. And then they find that slug crawling along, which was gross right off the hop. That big white slug thing.
I called it the alien slug sack.
Yeah.
Because it kind of opens and then the thing comes shooting out. And
yeah, it shoots him right in the chest.
Yeah. It was icky.
And then they decide to leave.
As you do after you've been shot by an alien slug sack.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, the parasite enters the town of Weasley, South Carolina, where it infects wealthy resident Grant. Grant, by taking over his body and absorbing his mind. With the alien in control of him, Grant begins to transform grotesque. So, yes, he goes home that morning. Starla wakes up. I guess she feels bad and has sex with her husband, who is now possessed by the alien.
Yeah. And
what am I forgetting?
It's him coming home. It must have been super early in the morning, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And he eats the raw meat out of the fridge.
That's right. Yes.
Which makes me very uncomfortable because all I could think is that's going to make you sick because we all know how raw meat is packaged in North America. And then I had forgotten this from the first time I saw the movie, but he makes a little nest in the basement.
That's right. He rolls around and thinks.
Yeah. He's like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of like a hamster.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, he's making a nest. And this is what, did he do this the first time? And I was like, wait, yes, I guess he must have. And I just blanked it from all the many times that I've seen this movie.
Then he goes upstairs and she's there and felt bad about not having sex with them. And
he hears their song playing and then she's wearing a white negligee and she's all like, let's get it on.
So she has sex with the alien.
Correct.
Yeah. Just kind of gross.
And then she boasts about it at work.
Then we have some more about the town, the police force. But basically what we get to is he's back and he comes back and she's in the shower because she goes to school. She goes to school. She explains to the one teacher that she's in a good mood because she had sex and blah, blah, blah. She goes home, has a shower, and he actually hears her and goes up to the shower and those things come out of his chest thing. But he obviously remembers they share a conscience or whatever and doesn't want to hurt his wife. He leaves, goes back to the girl that he met at the bar. And who's there with her kid and infects her with his tentacle things. It's kind of a disturbing scene. It's disturbing when you talk about it, but it was kind of disturbing. Actually, the scene was disturbing. It was gross.
It was super gross and very uncomfortable and very icky. It's just, there's a lot of ick factor happening. And it's one because you're just like, oh God, oh yeah, that must feel so weird. Because you see the little tentacles have like little claws on them.
Yeah, like, with a hole in them to send the one sends the pussy stuff and one sends the eggs.
Yeah, no.
And what made it even more icky? It was near the end where both tentacles were inside of her chest and she was kind of spazzing out, but he was sitting beside her, gently brushing her hair. And that was super icky.
There's a lot of just kind of like, this makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This is not right. This is not right.
And now Starla becomes suspicious because there's a lock on the door going downstairs.
Yeah.
And then he comes home and then his head's all kind of warped. I think we're at that point. And he says it was a bee sting and that he's already been to the doctors and he gave him a prescription and should clear up in a couple of days. She's out and then she calls the doctor from school, does she not? Saying that it's getting worse, and then the doctor doesn't know what she's talking about, that Grant has not.
He's like, the last time I saw your husband was months ago. She's like, what?
So she goes, now I'm trying to remember, does she confront him at this point?
I think she does. I think she does confront him, and then no, she doesn't confront him. She finds this out about him. And then I think that's when the sheriff's office
waiting
comes.
and
she's waiting for him, and the sheriff's office shows up and says, is Grant home, looking for him? And she's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, well, does he know this person? Whatever I'm going to figure out her name because I'm Brenda Gutierrez. He's like, does she know Brenda?
Now, before this, when she's driving and finds out that the doctor has not, she notices on a community post board, like hundreds of pets are now missing.
Yes.
She goes home. Grant home. The chief comes with his deputy and looking for him. And like you said, the last time the one girl's missing, the last time she was with Grant. She said that she hasn't seen him. Now they leave. She breaks open the door to go downstairs, and that's where you can hear the flies buzzing. She turns on the light, and that's where you see all the dead pets. There was a lot. I don't know how that smell didn't get upstairs, although he did block it in with the
But still, that smell would have migrated upstairs, especially
it was
that
gross.
House had central air. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Which, if you're in South Carolina, chances are it does. But that's fine. We're not gonna go into the.
Now she goes upstairs and to call the police, and Grant comes home.
Yeah.
And attacks her, and he looks way worse than he did.
Oh yeah. Now he's got stuff. Like his face is all misshapen, and
and the police come.
And he attacks her. The arm, around,
And then the cops come and they're freaked out because of his arm thing, and they draw their guns. And Grant, instead of fighting, he leaves.
Yes, he runs, and then what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I think that's what Bill said. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, and the next day, the mayor shows up demanding that they find Grant because this woman's missing. So they figure out where all these animals are getting killed, and he has an idea where Grant's going to hit next. So they get this get a posse led by the chief, Bill Party.
I love that they actually said, should we put together a posse? I'm like, do people actually do that?
That's kind of the look that everyone gave, like a couple of the other people gave him, like, fucking posse. And for whatever reason, the mayor, who's probably like a hunter or whatever, but he joins them. And I'm glad he did. So they go out to this house. You meet the family that has the property and the cows, and then they're waiting. And this part is cool when Grant, who is now this big, giant, ugly slug-like thing, comes out, kills the cow, and starts dragging it away. And then they're following him. They surround him, and Starla tries to talk to him.
I think you missed my favorite part.
Oh, when they're just sitting around talking?
When they're sitting around talking, that was great. I love the dialogue through this entire movie.
Yes.
Like, especially the parts where they're not in the middle of like an action sequence.
Oh, yeah, just
the regular, like, we're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about? Yeah, I love those. But there was, I think the character name is Charlie, and he's wearing a trucker hat.
Yeah, I think you're right.
When they're in the field. And he tries to stop Grant from running away. This is before they follow him out of the field. Because they follow Grant out of the field to like a barn. But before that happens,
they're in that little
Grant
field
takes
part.
out Charlie.
Yes.
With one of his little tentacles. And I was like, so cool. So gross. Just slices him right in half. And I'm like, amazing.
And
that
is,
just keeps going.
Is one of the things for Troma movies is that they're really good. They do body bags where they do a cut and then they really do for their budget, a decent job on it. Not like this. This was actually really cool because it cuts him right in half. Yeah. And then, then he really slithers away when they start going. They have to chase him. They get to the river and then they get to the barn.
Yes.
And then you see Brenda, whose body has become inhumanly bloated from the larvae growing inside her. And she is just eating these cows, like, because she's so hungry. There were a couple parts before this where we saw Grant a little more normal looking, feeding her when she was still human looking.
What was it? I brought you some nibbles.
Yeah, munchies
and it's like lungs or something. Like they were the innards of animals. And I was like, oh God.
But then, and she's so huge. Like when they find her, like she takes up half the barn.
Yeah.
And then Purdy sees Grant in the window, kind of sneaking out or away. And he realizes that Grant led them there on purpose, led them to the barn. And Brenda's body just can't take it anymore because she keeps moving forward. Everyone's freaking out. And she just bursts. And again, gross.
So gross.
But it's one of those things where it's so outlandishly gross that it is humorous. It is cartoonish almost, but it is gross.
Well, from the moment they walk into the barn, and she's see just Brenda
sitting there,
you're just like, it's already cartoonish at that point. So when you hear the big human balloon like talking, you're just like, this is weird, and it doesn't feel real, and Brenda doesn't feel like a real person. So when she explodes, you're more at the, oh God, that's cool, as opposed to, oh no, that's a person. That's terrible, but it's true.
Yeah, and then the slugs, like thousands of these slug things, just burst from her body and attack everybody, like are trying to get into. I thought for sure, I remembered them. They try to get into your mouth. For some reason, I thought they went up someone's ass. I don't know why I thought that, but that wasn't the case there.
9 times out of 10 in a horror movie, something will try to make its way up your ass. Whether it's a machete or a slug, something's going to go up there.
But these things have to go. And they actually showed how the slug works by going into your mouth.
Yeah.
And then cutting right up into your brain and then bonding with you. But yeah, they cover everybody and they get into mostly everybody. I think the only ones that survive are Bill, the mayor, the female officer, and Starla. Everyone else gets infected.
Yeah. Oh, does the female officer survive? Because she gets shot with that goop during the standoff after everybody's been. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, she doesn't get the slug in the mouth.
No,
when everybody else does. Correct.
Yeah.
My bad.
And then Bill's like, I'm going to go. They try to get the paramedics on the line. They try to get the back at the office back online. But so he's like, I can't reach anybody here. I'm going to the road to try to get these guys out of the barn because of the smell, because they're still breathing. And then as he's gone, they wake up.
Yeah.
And they start talking like Grant. And so those infected by the larvae become part of a hive mind controlled by Grant, who intends to consume all life forms, and only his consciousness will remain. This also, so as they're coming back and talking to Starla and the mayor and the female cop, Bill's running towards the farmhouse where they parked. Then we go back to the family that's their property, and they're doing all this stuff. And that's when the teenage daughter is in the bathtub, and that whole where the comic crawls up in through the bathroom, up that bear. What is it called? A clawfoot tub, and then into the water and does that little sperm like.
That made me very uncomfortable.
And she gets out, and then you hear the screams, and then you see that everyone's infected: the mom, the dad, the two younger sisters, and the slugs are everywhere. It looked really good.
I made a note of that because I was like, this is like the greatest nightmare sequence ever. Like, because it starts, it's totally done. Emily is the teenage girl. She's the one that pushes all the action, and that's how you see all of the visuals. Mm-hmm. So you're following her in when she's looking for her mom, and her mom comes and like spits up blood on her, and then she goes and she beats down the door to get to like her siblings, and then she has to crawl out of a window, and like I'm like, this is so like, it's just so well done.
And they're still coming. Like even she's out on the window and they're coming. So she has to jump and roll.
And then she sees her dad like making his way out of the door, like army crawling towards her. Yeah. And then somebody else shows up like right behind her. And it's like I'm like, girl. And then she's got to hide in the car. And then finally Bill shows up to help her. And he's just like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, the whole thing with them surrounding, like they get to the car. And they're zombified. And even like the little kids were creepy.
Can I tell you? The little kid on the driver's side of the like window, extra creepy. Kudos to her. She scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, no, they did.
I was like, no, her especially.
They did a great job. Yeah, so her, creepy. Yes.
Her especially. Like everybody else was creepy and scary, and I would feel very uncomfortable being in a car, and I'm like, these people are going to try and kill me, fine. But like the look on that little girl's face, I was like, I'm terrified. You're a serial killer in the making. Like this is traumatizing. She was very good.
And then Bill comes and helps her. Then he's like, we have to find my friends. Just as he says that, you hear them screaming as they're running across the street. By then, I think the female cop is changed. No.
Yeah. Well, she gets shot with the venom thing, and then it burns.
And it burns. That's right. Yeah. Which was gross because it bubbles and yeah. Everything about this movie was gross.
There's a lot of gross. There's a lot of gross, and I like the fact that it's gross because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Alien slugs.
Yeah, and so when they're driving home, because when she was in her bathroom, the teenager Kylie. Was it Kylie?
Yeah. Is it? No, Emily.
Emily. She actually got a slug in her mouth. And as she got the slug in her mouth, she actually, as it was trying to bond with her, she was able to see what it was doing and what it was doing. And she saw that it just goes from planet to planet, eating everything on that planet. When everything's done, it leaves to the next planet. Mm-hmm. So she explained it to them that when it was in her mouth, this is what it was doing. That's when, what was his name? Jack McCready.
I take it back. Her name is Kylie.
Is it?
Yeah, my bad. Why did I call her Emily?
But after she explains that to them, and that one of his many lines, like she's explaining that it's going to eat everything and and he was like, if I weren't about to shit my pants right now, I'd be fucking fascinated. The stuff this man said, that guy was friggin'.
Talk about his breakdown about the Mr. Pip.
Well, as they're driving, now they're trying to get to, because they're talking to back at the office. She's back. She was on a break. And the chief is Bill's telling her to get on the phone with CDC. And then he's losing his mind about there's no Mr. Pibb.
There's no Mr. Pibb.
Actually, I think I have the entire quote. No, I don't. I just had the Mr. Pibb rant. Yeah, his whole Mr. Pibb
apparently,
meltdown.
Mr. Pibb tastes just like Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Just FYI. Because first time I ever heard this, I was like, they made that up. Then I looked it up and I was like, no, that's a real drink. And then I was like, that's a real thing. And I was like, now I want one. Apparently,
just to see what it tastes like.
They don't call it Mr. Pibb anymore. Now they call it Pibb Extra.
So the survivors deduce that killing Grant will eliminate the rest of the aliens before they are attacked by the infected townspeople. Bill and Kylie escape. Oh, so he calls back to see if Harry has gotten hold of the CDC. Yeah. And that's when they say that it kind of like she's got Grant's voice again, and then they got something in store. The truck hits them and they crash. They weren't going very fast when this happened for all four to get knocked out. But anyways, Bill and Kylie escape, but Starla and Jack are captured. Mm-hmm. They go back to the office to get more weapons. He grabs the grenade. That's when he gets attacked by that deer, the zombified deer, and Kylie has to save him. Mm-hmm. Townspeople are being rounded up and dragged off. Some are being infected by the slugs. Some are being used for food. Armed with the grenade to kill the monster, Bill and Kylie head to Grant's home, where the infected are being absorbed by the ever increasingly mutated Grant. This is where Jack and the others, Jack the mayor, he wakes up. Where was he? In the basement?
In the basement, yeah.
And she wakes up in her bedroom, and then the mayor's freaking out, and they're combing her hair and dressing her, and
super creepy.
The mayor unfortunately gets it. Grant keeps Starla uninfected in the hope of regaining her love. Yeah, so this parasite wants to keep Starla. He still has that love for her. After waking up, Starla arms herself with a sharp brush and goes downstairs to find Grant. She tricks him into believing she still loves him and stabs him with the brush. And then he kicks the shit out of her. He becomes angry and throws her across the room. That's when Bill comes in to use the grenade. Only for Grant to get knocked into the pool. No, I think they got that wrong. The grenade gets knocked in the pool.
Grenade gets knocked into the pool.
Yeah.
Grant just gets knocked out.
Yeah, Grant
knocks the grenade.
Yeah.
Bill gets knocked.
Grant subdues Kylie with the couch and then attempts to infect Bill with his tentacles. Then, while one of the tentacles stabs Bill in the stomach, he managed to attach the other tentacle to a propane tank filled with flammable gas. Grant is shot by Starla and explodes, killing the rest of the aliens in the process, with everyone else in Weasley dead. The three survivors head off to seek help. That's how the movie... Yeah, they didn't even have like a happy ending.
No, they walk off into the sunrise.
Yeah. The one thing I found was Grant was not as bad as I remember him being. Like, he wasn't abusive. He was a little controlling or suspicious. But even, like, he didn't cheat on his wife and he didn't kill her at first. Like, he wasn't a great guy, but I thought he was more of a douche than he actually was.
So there was something that I heard from the Grant slug-infected family when Kylie is locked in the car. One of them says the line, "Uncle Grant's going to show you a good time, girly." I did not realize.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's super pervy. And then when they talk about
but it was also an alien at that time.
No, but then they talk about how Grant and Starla got together when she was like 18.
Yeah.
And he was a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
And he paid for her college for her to become a teacher. And you can kind of see like the age difference. But I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not saying he's perfect.
I'm saying he might be mildly pedophilic. Like he might be a mild pedophile. I'm just saying.
It's possible.
Like he waits for them to turn 18. Yay him. But still gross. Like he's one of those gross guys who's all like, he likes them young and moldable so that he can control them. Because he seems really, because I'm sitting there and I was like, look, your wife doesn't want to have sex with you because she's not attracted to you.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'd hang out with him. I'm just saying he wasn't as bad as I remember him being. The mayor is awesome.
The mayor is amazing.
I'd vote for him if he was running for mayor in my town.
Oh, 100%.
Like, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure with a case of Dr. or Mr. Pibb, you could probably, get laws changed in that town.
Like, yeah. When they were sitting around waiting for Grant, and he was asking the one cop, like, if he's ever hooked up with the female cop. And the one cop was like, no, she's a lesbian. I can't remember. He didn't say that, but he said something derogatory. If I can remember, but it signified that she wasn't into guys. She liked women. And he was like, oh. And then after they got covered in slugs and the slugs went away and everyone was passed out but them, and the female cop said, praise Jesus, we're alive. And he's like, praise Jesus, like with a question mark. That's fucking pushing it. But then he's talking about that if he changes into what did he say? Hold on, did I write it down? Yeah, talking about the worms. If this shit is contagious and I turn into a fucking mollusk, I don't even know what that is, or something, I'm going to sue those bastards. And then he turns to the lesbian police officer and says, and you can sue right alongside of me. I don't care if you're a lesbo. You don't deserve that shit.
Here's the thing. When he said mollusk, I was like, yes. Because they described Grant initially as being squid-like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And a squid is a mollusk. And remember in the thing, they have the little squid, like, stuffy.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, we thought we could show people, to identify Grant.
But he's so unapologetic. Like, even when he was like, move, get the fuck out of the way, move, cocksucker. And then like, hi, mayor. And then he's like, well, you win some, you lose some. To himself, like, I lost that vote.
And he's fine with it. He's like, Ed, man. It is what it is. The cast of characters in this town is amazing.
Oh my God. Yes.
Because it runs the gamut and you're just like, yes, thank you. Thank you for giving me, because they're all very regular people and they're all just having very regular lives. Like even Grant.
Yeah.
Like his big, like, ooh, he's got money. He doesn't have a Tesla. He doesn't have a Bentley. He doesn't have a Rolls Royce. He has a Cadillac.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, it's not a Bugatti. Like,
and there is nothing special about these people. Nothing. Nathan Fillion really isn't even overly a competent action hero.
No.
Like, as far as action hero goes, he's a pretty shitty one, but it's kind of realistic. And he had some amazing, like, my easygoing nature is getting sorely fucking tested. When they were talking about, I wrote it down. 2 nights ago, a mare was stolen from the property owned by Fitzgibbons, that rancher with the cleft palate. And then his buddy, the older deputy, Wally, I know that guy, looks like a chipmunk. And then he says, your mama wasn't too proud when you came out neither, Wally. Like, he had some great one-liners. But his competence as like a superhero, or I mean an action hero,
no, there's none of it.
No, which made it perfect. Because this movie played it straight.
Yeah.
And their incompetence and they're not special. There's nothing going on in this town that warrants to be saved, and them playing it straight just made it that much funnier.
They're literally just a bunch of regular people in an incredibly irregular situation.
Absolutely.
That are trying to make it right.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. I don't have the answers. We're like, the most we got is this girl, Kylie, who had a slug in her mouth for like a hot second. And then it came out and she's our source of information. We got nothing.
Yeah.
And they're just rolling with it. And that's part of the magic of the movie. Like, there is no expert. There's no outer space expert. There's no alien expert. There's no science expert.
There's no military. There's
no military, no combat, no special ops, nothing.
There's not even a character that has some sort of quality that deserves to be the final. There's nothing.
It's a small town sheriff's department.
Yeah.
With an inept mayor and a couple civilians.
Yeah.
And they're just hoping for the best.
Yeah. And the special effects, like, I only noticed 1, maybe 2 instances where it was CGI. And I did look this up after. Gunn did play with CGI and integrated it with a lot of practical effects. Like when Grant was quickly slithering away after he killed the cop in half or the guy in half, that was obviously CGI, but it didn't look horrible.
No.
Like, you just knew how fast it was going. Well, that was CGI.
In the clawfoot tub scene, like when it's slithering across, it's CGI.
Yeah.
But I had to look really closely. Like it wasn't, oh, that's CGI. I was like, there's something off about this.
Yeah.
And then the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, CGI. Okay.
Yeah.
But then when she kills it, I was like, practical.
Yeah.
They had a little squishy slug that they killed there.
And that was my second one, the slugs, like the slugs crawling, that when they swarmed the bodies and stuff like that. But it didn't look horrible. Like he nailed it. Like he had to use CGI and he used it and he mixed it. He mixed it. Yeah. And it was so awesome.
Well, occasionally the CGI is so slick and it's so sleek that it's obvious when it's being used. Yeah. It wasn't that sleek in this, so that you're like, okay, he took into consideration how it would look up against the backgrounds or up against whatever scene it's in. And I was like, I can appreciate that, because you can't get the same effect with just practical ones that he really got in a lot of these scenes where he used the CGI. But he didn't overuse it. And he also he took into consideration the quality of the scene.
Yeah.
Of what he was playing against with it. So,
and this is what, 16, 17 years ago, which CGI was good back then, but like for a B horror movie with an okay budget, you can kind of see, because a lot of people, when he got hired to do Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of people are like, who's this guy? And his movies did not do well. His next movie was Super with Rainn Wilson. It didn't do well either, but you can see how people over at Disney saw his movies and were like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, yeah, his movies weren't blockbusters or anything, but he knows he knows how to direct, and he knows how to direct effects, and Guardians of the Galaxy is nothing but a giant special effect.
But also on top of that, James Gunn is, like, I don't want to say he corners the market on quirky, but he kind of does.
He knows how to do poster boy for it.
Yeah. He knows how to do quirky. He knows how to do out of the ordinary movies.
Yeah.
Where you're like, there's a formula for this, but the movie we're making doesn't fit that formula exactly. Like, it kind of veers way off course. So I think also that's why he was chosen for Guardians of the Galaxy, because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Guardians are quirky.
Yes.
Compared to the rest.
And they're not like the rest. They're not your real superheroes. They're a raccoon,
the Slither
a
cast.
tree. Yeah.
They're the Slither cast.
And that's the same with the Suicide Squad that he just did. He's not doing Batman and Superman. He's using these rejects.
Yeah.
And his humor works with these type of characters like perfectly. I did not think I was going to like Guardians of the Galaxy. Even though I like James Gunn, even because of all this stuff, I didn't think I was going to like it, but it's one of my favorite
I
groups.
really liked Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorites. I don't enjoy Chris Pratt at all, but I mean, other than that.
You don't like Chris Pratt?
No, man. Kind of hate him. Hate him. Yeah.
Parks and Recreation? No.
Just look, there's some things I'm like, okay, tolerable, but other things I'm like, you grate on my nerves, and it's hard for me because I try not to. But like, once also, I know a lot of like kind of personal stuff about him, like as a person, and
he's a bit douchey.
Oh, he's such a douche.
Yeah,
such a douche. It's just like there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, I don't want to give you my money ever again.
We have to do some
kind of
Chris Pratt movies then.
Fuck, buddy. Let me tell you. I'll if I have to, I'll watch them. But if I can choose to, I won't. And it makes me mad that he's new in the new Jurassic movies, because I'm like, fuck, I love the Jurassic movies. The old ones. And then I saw the first new one and I was like, oh, okay. And then I learned more about him as a person, because I was already kind of on the fence about him when I watched the first new Jurassic. And then I was like, oh, you're an even bigger douche than I thought. And then he kind of ruined the second one.
I was going to say, if it makes you feel better, the movies get inherently worse.
Yeah, no, the second one, it was kind of shitty. And I was like, I need to watch the third now because, you know,
I third didn't even make that much sense, but all the old actors are in it.
Yeah. Well, they had to bring them all back. If there's no story, bring back nostalgia. But
because of James Gunn and this type of stuff, like, I will give anything he does a try. Like, I know Suicide Squad did not do very well over the pandemic. It was like a big flop, but it was a great movie. And you see the humor, and like you said, the rejects of the Slither cast in a superhero movie. That's exactly what that is. But
Gunn brings magic to regular people.
Yeah, and he writes it so funny.
Oh, so funny. So good. He definitely knows how to create nuanced characters and relationships between characters so that you care about them almost instantly.
Yeah, and there's nothing to care. When you look at it, there's nothing to care about these characters, but you do.
Yeah, no, 100%. You care about them and you want them, like, and just, like, you know, I keep whipping around because these cats are making noise and I keep thinking the house is being broken into. So this is all I'm doing. So don't worry, it's fine. But yeah, no, you care about the characters initially and there's nothing like super crazy or special about them. It's literally, they're just having random conversations, you know, about the people in town. And you're just like,
and then it was bugging me because I cared about, like, when the mayor got killed, a couple of the deputies and stuff got killed, and it was bugging me. Is it Jenna Fisher? Oh shit, from The Office,
Dispatcher. Yes,
Dispatcher. It was bugging me because 2006 meant The Office was already big, so she was huge. So I don't know. It was bugging me why she took a small part like this. She was married to James Gunn at the time.
That explains.
He lost an actor that was supposed to play that part, and then he got her to do it. Because she was the biggest celebrity, just a side note, at the time, even bigger than Elizabeth, because of The Office, they chose her to do the talk show circuit for the movie. Didn't help, the movie bombed, but that's why she's in the movie.
I mean,
yes. So overall thoughts, not our score yet, but why we liked it then.
Movie. I liked it then because it was a weird, quirky, kind of off the beaten path, kind of horror movie, but like, it was a funny horror movie, but still more horror than funny. I don't think I'd call it. It's weird because it's like it's a good movie. It's a great movie. I liked it then, and because it's actually a good quality. Like, yes, it's a B movie, but it also holds true to the B movie. Like, it was a new good B movie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yes.
Yep. Yeah,
that's why I liked it then.
I liked it then because it was different. It was gore done on a different level, like from what I was used to seeing back then. Like budget, that's what you get if you're going to do a gore movie with that much money. And it was funny, but I think it was too different back then, and we talked about that, and that's why it didn't do well. But there is a reason it became a cult classic. Like it just took time for people to.
The world wasn't ready for it.
No. And I don't think I don't remember seeing a movie like that on that type of level.
Oh, no. This was at a time where B movies were still very niche and very culty. So I happened to fall into liking B movies and watching B movies. The majority of the people that I knew, not just my friends, but just people I knew, had no idea about what constituted a B movie, or what they kind of, or had watched them. They had no idea. So then you see Slither, and I started watching it because of the cast and James Gunn, and that was why I watched it, because I was like, oh, so many like good people. Yeah, let me watch it, and it was perfect. I was like, this is a great B movie, and it's fantastic. This is great. but I don't think a lot of people could really appreciate it or understand it at that point. Like it wasn't mainstream. They tried to put this out into mainstream, but it wasn't a mainstream movie.
Yeah. It was not. Yeah. So, okay. So I'll say that for a summary for people who remember liking this movie and haven't seen it in a long time. If you remember liking this movie, you were correct. You obviously had sometimes a warped sense of humor. You like gore, like a lot. Pus, blood, tentacles, bodies opening up and spilling everything inside, that type of gore. And if you still do, it's still there and it's still good. Watch it again. And unlike that woman who becomes a gigantic, monstrous living womb for thousands of slugs and can't satisfy her hunger, you will be satisfied watching this movie.
That was beautiful. I like the way you did that little circling back to satisfaction.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that's gold.
It really is. It just was very impressive. Yeah, no, if people remember liking it, it holds up. That's all you got to tell people. It holds up.
It really does. Yeah, it does.
Still quirky. Still the gross level is still the same. Because, sometimes stuff is gross back in the day, but you watch it now and you laugh. No, this is still gross. Yeah. And it's still good. Still quality, man.
Yeah, I would venture to say to other people, I think I like it more than I did.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate it more.
I appreciate it more. That's
yeah, very
accurate.
And for people that have not seen it, younger people or people just didn't actually see it, if you haven't seen it but would like to see like a hilarious, well acted, well directed, gore fest and downright fun horror movie, then give it a go. Be warned, this is not a jump scare horror movie. This is a gory horror movie. The horror is gross, like really gross, but it's funny, fun, and so enjoyable. And I think it would be more appreciated now than 2006. And I believe you said that before we watched it. The gore still holds up. I don't know how much better you could get it now. Gunn and his crew blended the CGI and practical effects perfectly. Because if you had too much CGI, which is what could happen if you were to do it today, you could ruin it. But if you're not into gore, don't
do it.
It will. You won't like it at all. If you
have a sensitive stomach, not the movie for you.
Yeah, no.
And I think it's important to point out this is gore gross, not just generic gross, but it's specifically gore gross.
Goes out of its way.
It goes out of its way to make you want to puke because there are so many things where you're like, oh God, the human body shouldn't do that. And that's what it is. It is what it is. But I think there can definitely be a bigger appreciation for it because it is a funny, well-made, well-crafted movie that happens to be a gory horror movie, but super funny as well.
Yes. Yeah. And could this movie be made or remade, enjoyed today? This movie should have been made today. As is almost. It would have done a lot better in the theater, or if it was done by a streamer like Netflix, it would be in the top 10 for months and it would be talked 100%. About nonstop. I believe it's more enjoyable today than it was in 2006. I would argue give James Gunn the opportunity for a sequel. I would miss the characters that didn't make it, but I'm confident Gunn could give us more. So I don't think you have to remake it because it does still hold up today. But sequel. I would love if James Gunn would have to do it.
Yeah. I don't think it needs to be remade, but if they wanted to, they could. And it would literally be just a remake. Take the original script.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remake. No retooling, no rebooting, no rewriting. You can straight up just take it and remake it now. But I agree with you. I'd rather have a sequel.
Yeah.
Have them settle in a different small town. Have another meteor hit. And then they become the experts who are still inept. I love this idea. Let's do this. But it's a really, really, it's a great movie that holds up. And weirdly enough, it is not offensive.
No.
It is not politically incorrect. Because the few politically incorrect characters or moments or whatever are called out in it, and not violently, but in a better kind of way.
Yeah.
Or, oh God, can you believe this guy is saying this? And you're just like, this is nice. Like, this is good. I like this.
And there was no nudity. And I know we said that in horror movies, you almost expect it. If you don't have any nudity in your horror movie, it better be good.
Well, there's suggested nude. The one thing is like, because there's a shower door when Elizabeth is taking the shower. That's the most. It's like a suggestion, a whiff of nudity, a little soupçon of nudity. That's it. And it's I love that because I'm like, it doesn't need it.
No, and I think
this isn't a slasher.
No.
Slasher, you need the morality police. This is gory and kind of creaturey.
Gunn didn't need that nudity tool.
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
So for my score, I was going to give this movie a lower score, only because you have to be in the mood to watch a movie like this, and you have to be into movies like this. This isn't just something you put on to watch. You have to be in the mood for a gross, gory comedy gore fest. But if you are in the mood for just that, this movie is amazing. And I give it a 9.
Ooh. I'm not even gonna lie to you, my friend. I'm giving this movie a 9.5.
Oh.
Because it's very close to being a masterpiece.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing that pulls it back from masterpiece is that it is a bit of a niche kind of format and a niche genre of movie. That's the only thing. I think if they dialed back the gore or removed the gore, or if someone's not sensitive to it and you just looked at it as a comedy movie, I think that, but it's not. It's a very niche little market for it.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that pulled it back, the 0.5 for me. But other than that, it's just a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I
could watch this movie again.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be years before I watch this movie again.
No, I'm putting it back in my rewatch rotation.
Yeah.
I haven't had it in there for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Just because I keep forgetting it exists over the last few years, because there's been so much online content put out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You forget some of the classics. I would say this is a classic.
Yeah, most definitely.
Way to go, James Gunn.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really enjoyed watching it. I had fun.
I forgot how funny it was.
Right from the beginning.
Yes.
The first line was, "For fuck's sake, get the fuck out of the way, you cocksucker."
Yeah. Morning, Mayor.
Morning,
like,
Mayor.
Oh, perfect. And then there's the whole conversation about a Gina.
Yeah.
What's a Gina? Where's a Gina? Where Chinese people are from.
Oh, yeah.
Your mama?
We only covered what, like 5% of the funny parts in the movie, if that. Yeah.
It's constant. It's constant.
And it's not just the mayor, and it's not just Nathan Fillion. It's like
everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. Everybody adds to this movie.
Yeah. So good. More people should watch it. That's my 2 cents.
All right.
Fantastic.
Slither. Maybe it was the name. Maybe they need a better name for the movie.
No, man. Isn't there another movie called Slither?
Probably.
I think with one of the Baldwins.
Sliver?
Maybe?
Where they watch the people in the apartment?
Oh. God, the Baldwins creep me out. But anyways. I'm very particular about who I associate with in my head. Because I don't actually know these people in real life. But I'm like, Chris Pratt, no, he's not invited to my house for the dinner party. because that makes no sense. Anyways, I'm done now.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,